While watching Croatia's penalty shootout in the 2018 World Cup quarterfinals against Russia, a group of firefighters from the Zagreb Fire Department were called into emergency service, just seconds before Ivan Rakitic's game-winning penalty. When Rakitic walked towards the penalty area, the alarm sounded and immediately threw them into chaos. Running to their equipment, the firefighters got ready as the fire trucks started, and within seconds, they were out the door and heading towards the location. 3 firefighters were left behind after carrying out their duties in deploying fire trucks and returned to watch the penalty shootout. They celebrated wildly when Rakitic's penalty kick sent Croatia through to the World Cup semifinals. In Norwich City's match against Brentford, Brandon Williams started fighting for the ball with Christian Eriksen and finally dropped him to the ground after a physical contact. After falling, Brandon Williams looked ready to clash with his opponent, but quickly realized it was Christian Eriksen, who received a lot of appreciation for returning to the Premier League after suffering a cardiac arrest at Euro 2020. Brandon's mood changed from wanting to fight to continuing to hug Eriksen. Eriksen saw the humor in it when he was seen smiling when the two of them got up again and continued playing. After opening the scoring in the Netherlands' 5-0 win against Estonia in the Euro 2020 qualifiers, Georginio Wijnaldum ran to the sidelines and called his teammate Frenkie de Jong. He then held his arm alongside de Jong's, showing different skin tones to highlight the fact that football is a game for every race and skin color. The celebration was in response to the racist abuse suffered by Excelsior player Ahmad Mendes Moreira in the match against Den Bosch in the Dutch 2nd Division. Romelu Lukaku had the ball when Inter Milan were awarded a penalty in the 60th minute of their match against Genoa. Already with 1 goal to his name and his team leading 2-0, Lukaku asked the crowd who they wanted to take the penalty, and they called out Sebastian Esposito, who was making his full debut for the Italian Giants. Lukaku then handed the ball to Esposito, and Esposito made no mistake by firing a powerful shot into the bottom corner of the goal. Unsurprisingly, the 17-year-old teenager immediately thanked Lukaku for the gift. When Arsene Wenger walked around the Emirates pitch for the last time in his career, the young Arsenal fan held up a sign which read, "Arsene, can I have your tie, please?" Wenger noticed the youngster's message and headed straight for the crowd. He then loosened his tie before giving it to the young gunner. All the fans surrounding the boy started taking photos and trying to shake Wenger's hand, while the other youngsters looked shocked when Wenger was within touching distance. Sofiane Boufal invited his mother onto the pitch to celebrate with him after Morocco's shocking win over Portugal and becoming the first African nation to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup. They were seen waving in celebration before he took her hand and started dancing with her to the music being played in the stadium. After still not managing to score a goal against Greece, Nicolo Barella became frustrated and decided to take it out by kicking the ball out of the pitch. The ball then hit a ball boy in the face and knocked him out. Barella immediately regretted his actions and apologized to the ball boy. After a disappointing 6-0 home defeat to Augsburg, Darmstadt is at the bottom of the Bundesliga standings with only 2 wins and collecting 13 points from 24 matches. While some fans shouted and raised their scarves at the final whistle, one of the ultras ran onto the pitch to confront the Darmstadt players and tell the players what he thought of them. The ultra stood on the sidelines and shouted at the players and coaches gathered in front of him. Then, when the ultra finished his passionate monologue, he was greeted with applause from his fellow supporters as well as several Darmstadt players. In the 65th minute of the friendly match between the United States and Mexico, Matt Miazga and Diego Lainez chased the ball over the top. Miazga gets the ball, but is fouled by Lainez. Then the two players faced each other, and Miazga made a gesture that seemed to mock the height difference between himself and Lainez. Both of their teammates immediately got between the pair and pulled Miazga. But Miazga continued to mock Lainez's height from afar, which prompted Mexican midfielder Edson Alvarez to confront Miazga. In the 74th minute of the World Cup quarter-final match, Edinson Cavani suffered an injury and tried to leave the pitch, but he was clearly having difficulty. With his Portugal team trailing 2-1 to Uruguay, Ronaldo rushed over to Cavani and put his arm around Cavani to support and guided Cavani off the pitch. James Rodriguez had an incredible campaign at the 2014 World Cup, scoring 6 goals in 5 matches, including Colombia's only goal in a 2-1 defeat against Brazil in the quarterfinals. So when his team couldn't put up enough resistance to overcome a 1-goal deficit, it was no surprise that he was completely heartbroken. But as he walked off the pitch looking inconsolable, several Brazil players and coaches took a moment to try to cheer him up. After Japan and Senegal won their opening matches of the 2018 World Cup, everyone expected their fans would flock to the streets to celebrate. However, some Japanese and Senegal fans decided to stay to help clean up the rubbish inside the stadium. Robin van Persie didn't have much to celebrate on his return to Old Trafford, as his Fenerbahce were beaten 4-1 by his former club Manchester United. But his consolation goal provided an unforgettable moment for him. In the 83rd minute, he scored from Emeniki's cross and immediately brought the 70,000 home fans to their feet, applauding and chanting his name. While his former manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, applauded the goal in the stands next to Sam Allardyce. Van Persie did not celebrate, but raised his hand in appreciation to Manchester United fans. On his way to collect the ball behind his goal in a Legends match between Liverpool Legends and Milan Glory at Anfield, Jerzy Dudek stopped the game for a moment so that he could give a disabled fan an unforgettable experience. Ahead of kickoff, several England players stood alongside the young mascots, including Jude Bellingham, who was paired with a child in a wheelchair. The boy was getting soaked as the rain poured down in London. Concerned about the youngster, Bellingham looked down and put his arm around the boy's shoulders and appeared to whisper in the boy's ear. The boy is then seen with a big smile on his face as Bellingham unzips his England jacket and covers the boy with his jacket. Cristiano Ronaldo prepares for the kickoff of the second half of Portugal's World Cup qualifiers match against the Faroe Islands. However, he was approached by a pitch invader who ran towards him and held up his smartphone to take a selfie. Ronaldo told the steward that he could take photos with the pitch invader. After giving a thumbs up to the steward, Ronaldo happily posed and hugged fans who were taking photos without any guards in sight. Sofyan Amrabat was given the opportunity to break his fast in the match between Fiorentina and Inter after his teammate Luca Ranieri appeared to pretend to be injured. Amrabat was seen kneeling on the touchline, eating a banana and drinking water in the 2nd minute of stoppage time, with his team leading 1-0 after Ranieri went down without any contact and asked for medical treatment on the pitch. Romanovic put Konyaspor ahead in the 33rd minute of the match, but after scoring the opening goal, Konyaspor manager ordered his players to let Vanspor equalize. The reason Konyaspor manager did that was because several Vanspor players had stopped playing before Konyaspor scored the opening goal and assumed the referee would stop the match so the medical team could provide treatment to the injured Olkan Ulgun. While trying to clear the ball on the near side of the pitch, Jeremy Frimpong fired the ball into the face of a young Leverkusen fan, which made the youngster cry. Frimpong then immediately ran to apologize to the youngster and managed to meet the kid at the end of the match. He then made the kid's day by taking off his shirt and giving it to the youngster. When some dogs found their way onto the pitch in the middle of a Bolivian league match between the Strongest and Universitario, one of the Universitario players became very angry at the interference and tried to remove one of the dogs from the field. But when the player tried to catch the dog, a brave ball boy came to the rescue and saved the little dog from the angry player. Dennis Yapel tried to get the ball before it went out of play. Unfortunately, he lost his balance and hit his head on the concrete wall of the grandstand structure, causing him to lose consciousness. Luckily, his teammates and medical team came to his rescue, making him conscious and able to go to the locker room on his own. Manchester City players line up to collect their UEFA Super Cup winners' medals. However, the queue for the medals was stopped by Jack Grealish, who took the time to talk to a blind girl who was standing next to the UEFA president Alexander Ceferin. Ankaraspor's 18-year-old goalkeeper Bayram Kilic was very upset after failing to save Savicevic's shot and made his team lose 3-2 to Giresunspor in the 4th round of the Turkish Cup. After his mistake, he couldn't hold back his tears. Seeing the opposing goalkeeper crying, Giresunspor goalkeeper Ferhat Kaplan ran from his goal to Bayram and comforted the young goalkeeper. Andrea Bellotti was awarded a free kick after being tripped by Christian Romero. Bellotti immediately turned to the referee and wagged his finger, indicating that he had not been fouled. After chatting with the referee, he returned the ball to Atalanta instead of trying to score from a free kick. Malik Tillman scored when almost everyone on the field thought the ball would be returned to Rangers' halfway line after another Rangers player kicked the ball out of play for Tillman to receive treatment for the injury. However, after scoring the goal, Tillman was surrounded by several furious Partick Thistle players. After a few minutes, Rangers manager Michael Beale pulled captain James Tavernier aside and spoke to him. It soon became clear that Rangers were going to let their opponents score. Boos rang out around Ibrox Stadium when Scott Tifoni dribbled past the defense without any challenge from Rangers players and slotted the ball into the net to level the scores. After an act of fair play, Partick Thistle manager Ian McCall walked across the dugout to shake the Rangers manager's hand. This is perhaps the most respectful thing a football team has ever done against their rival. However, if you want to watch another football sportsmanship moments, just click the video right here.